Okay, before we go any further on page verification, there are categories and subcategories under each one of these. Well, there are subcategories under each one of these categories. I'm going to ask Dan to explain to you how you can minimize the information you get on it and only get the information you actually need so you don't get bogged down with too much information. So Dan, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Okay. So first of all, if you were a concrete subtrade and you purchased Isaac, you wouldn't see all these categories in page verification. You'd see only the categories related to concrete. And similarly, if you were a framer, you'd see only the categories related to framing. So not everybody is going to see all these categories. But regardless of whether you're a general or a subtrade, you're going to see some categories, and sometimes you're going to see things you don't want or don't need. So it's possible to hide anything you don't want to see. For example, if you were a general but you never do masonry, you never have anything to do with masonry, if you just click on the number beside the word, it asks if I want to hide masonry. If I say yes, masonry is gone. Now, let's
How do
say
you want it back in?
now let's say a job comes up and hey, you do have masonry after all in this particular estimate. At any time, you can click the unhide button above the numbers, and it asks if you want to unhide all, or if you click the down arrow, it'll show you everything you've hidden, and you can select any one thing you've hidden to unhide it.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, so that works with these broad categories, but it also works if I click on masonry and I get all these, and I don't want to see clay masonry. I've got nothing to do with clay masonry. I can click on that number and I can hide that. And I can click the red unhide button and I can bring that back. And so it goes all the way through any category or any subcategory in this whole page verification can be hidden so that you only see the things you want to see. A note is it will not hide anything where there's a dollar value associated, because that would cause a big problem. It would throw off your estimate if you hit $400. So it will not hide anything if there's a dollar value already associated with it.
So what you're saying, to be clear, what you're saying is it before you can hide it, it has to be empty. There cannot be any material labor unit.
That's right. Yeah. If in this column under net labor and net material, if there is a dollar value, if you see a dollar value, you won't be able to hide that category.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. We go first of all into concrete. What I'm going to show you is the magic of this shit and what else you can do. So let's say you're in concrete. You go back to concrete, and you can now see a labor multiplier, material multiplier. So assuming I'm estimating that project, and I'm doing the formwork, and I found out from a supplier, for example, that there is a rumor in the wind that material is going up by 20%. Well, I have a choice. I can go back to in here and start changing numbers. But if I have a lot of takeoff, if I have a lot of material, that's very time consuming. And assuming you are really down to the wire in closing that project, there is no time for that. So what I do is, if my supplier tells me that he thinks that the rumor, according to the rumor, is going to be about 10% increase, then what I would put in here is a multiplier of 110. Multiplier of 110 increases the price by 10%. So again, if you put 100% in here, you will see $400. If you put 110, you see 440. The same thing goes for labor. So if you remember before, I said, don't worry about the labor units, we can adjust them afterwards. So the last thing you do when you close your bid, when you're getting towards the finalization of the bid, you've entered all your material, you've entered all your labor, you're taking a look at it, you're verifying it one more time. And you look at this and you say, wait a minute, I've got the formwork and there's no way I need 33 hours. I can do that in half the time. Or in retrospect, you look at it and you say, there's no bloody way that we can do that in 33 hours. This will take about 45 hours. Well, okay, so we're looking at a multiplier of what? About 125. All right, close enough. Let's leave it at that. So you adjust, you multiply, and that adjusts the labor. There's a reason we do that and not change the unit, these units. And the reason for that is that the units that you see in here create your foundation to your estimate. They are a base. Like I said, a foundation. We never alter them. We never adjust them. The only thing that can adjust is your productivity in the field. It can be adjusted based on the size of a job. It may need to be adjusted based on your crew. It could be that your crew is more productive now than it was before. It could be that your crew was less productive than it was before. As we progress in estimating projects and doing the contracts and collecting job costing, we then have enough information to determine what our crew factors are, what our crew productivity is. And this is what we base the productivity factors on. So, for example, if I go in here, doors and windows, and my finishing carpenter is good, but he's methodical. And when I say methodical, he's slow as molasses. But I would rather have slow doing finishing than fast doing finishing and having to go back and do his job again. So let's go to this section again, to page verification. And I've already factored in that I'm going to factor in, knowing based on my experience that he will take twice as long as anybody else to install these doors. Well, I'll change it to $200 or 200%, sorry. So the labor has gone up to 17 hours from the original 8 hours. Again, 200 gone to 17 hours. I know that the 7 doors that I need to install, it will take about 2 hours per door to install. Or normally it would take about an hour, but I'd rather pay him 2 hours per door and get it done right the first time. All right, as far as material is concerned, I got a quotation from the supplier, no alteration required. This is the fixed price at what is it, $3,900 on material for the doors. That's it. So that's the magic of this page. Now, there's a reason for this page as well, as this way you don't miss anything. It forces you to cover all the 16 sections, all the 16 trades. So when this is the page before the end, before the summary page. Before you go to the summary page, go through these categories and subcategories one more time to make sure you have not missed anything. Once you're absolutely satisfied that it's all in, everything is in, you've adjusted the labor based on your productivity, the material is covering all costs, including possible increases, you're ready to go to the next stage. Again, as Dan told you before, you got questions, hit the question mark. All right, we're ready to go to the next level.
Okay, so